Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pilot episode of Beware the Batman discussions. We're going to start doing this weekly once we get caught up because we're behind in 2 episodes already. So hopefully we can get caught up pretty quick, and then we'll be doing this weekly. So we've both watched the pilot and the second episode of Beware the Batman. But we're going to focus on the first episode here. So, we get introduced to Batman here, and he goes up against Professor Pig and who's his assistant?
Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad. And it's all
They're eco-terrorists.
Yeah, they're eco-terrorists. Sorry, I was trying to remember what exactly they were.
They're kidnapping big businessmen who have damaged the environment to build some sort of it looks like an oil rig.
Yeah,
or something, some bit of industry, because the final set piece is that bit of industry they built.
Yeah, and
it lights up pretty easy, so I'm saying it's some sort of oil rig or something. But it basically demolished swampland to build it.
Yeah, so, we get that, and we get introduced to another character. But the folk...
should we talk about from the beginning with the robbery at the beginning?
Yeah, I was gonna... Yeah, but we get... Yeah, I was gonna say, then we get a robbery at the beginning. So we get that, and that's when we get introduced to the Batman for the first time.
And the title of the show. What's that old saying? Beware the Batman? What's there to beware?
Yeah. So, and there's robbery at the beginning. It kind of reminds me a bit of Nolan Batman, but a bit animated series Batman as well. It's a really cool opening. And it's a really good introduction to the character, and you get the sense that he's not been at this too long. So, but he's got a reputation in it. So I say he's been around. The Batman's been around about 6 months. I don't think we're fully in a year.
It's interesting you say that. You know why?
Why?
Because I've heard the one of the things that really sold me on the series is the pitch I've heard at Comic-Con. The creators kind of pitching the audience the series, DC Nation panel. And what they said in their initial concept of the series is he's been around for maybe 5 to 6 years. But really, in this pilot, I got the sense it was 3 years. Batman, year 3, at most, 3 years. I mean, he feels like early on Batman, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like 6 months to me, but I'm saying that.
Oh, no.
I'm going at most 3 years because he is doing some stuff that's real discovery process for Batman, so it does feel like early Batman, yet he has been around for a while.
Oh, I'd say he's been training for quite a while, but I'd say that the Batman itself hasn't been around that long because I get the sense even from Gordon that he hasn't been around that long.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I mean, we definitely know he's been around for 2 months. That's fact. He's been around longer than 2 months, so your 6 months is definitely correct.
Yeah.
I think he might have been. I just think he might have been around longer. I know it's not his first year because they said it's not his first year on the job.
I get it.
I'm saying
I get that. I get the sense to me. Oh, this is just me. Okay, so I get the sense that especially after that first thing, he hasn't fully what he's going to be about. I could if they said, "Oh, okay, this is after his first year." All right, I'd buy that. I would not buy that he's been at this for 3 years because it does not seem like that at all. Because to me, especially, it's he'd be much better by 3 years.
Well, I mean, it feels like he's within his second to third year for me. I'm saying in place of 6 years, because they said 5 to 6 years. It doesn't feel like that at all. I'm just saying at most 2 to 3 years is what I'm saying. I think it's past his first year though, because it's he just doesn't have a working relationship with Lieutenant Gordon yet. And again, he's lieutenant, so there's still corruption in the city, presumably. So I don't know. We're gonna see. Again, we're only 2 episodes in, so we can't really make those judgment calls. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like I like this as an introductory episode. It really sets the tone, and we get the thing that people seem to be talking about most is Jason Statham, Alfred. Yeah, and I use that quote from I think it's Shade says that. Oh no, it's Duke says that. Duke
Yes.
And
I'm surprised more people don't draw a parallel to Sean Connery, because in Earth 1, this is kind of the Alfred they're going with from Earth 1 in the book, where he is basically Sean Connery from The Untouchables.
Oh, okay.
And that was their inspiration for this guy, so I don't know if they're literally verbatim taking him out of Earth 1 to do it, but they do kind of give him a cane at the end of this, so...
Yeah. I get the sense, too, that maybe Alfred is one of the guys that train him, because to me, I like the idea of Batman going to numerous people, not just one person to train them.
Indeed.
Yeah, I get that sense in Begins, that that's why he was traveling the world, too. He might have been getting trained by other people to... Because he says that, even at the beginning of that film, that he does have some jiu-jitsu skills and all that. And I love the line, "This is not a dance" by Liam Neeson. That's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. But I get the sense that maybe Alfred's done some training with him. I really hope that they don't say, "Oh well, Alfred's trained him completely," and it's like. Oh.
No, I'm just saying he helped out, definitely, because he has some skills. We can see that. So I'm saying he probably helped out. After
we get introduced to Professor Pig and Mr. Toad, and then they go to...
excuse me, Magpie, I think before we get into that, if I may, just address some elephants in the room. George, Henry, and John. No, seriously. Elephants in the room. Well, how do you feel about the new look, the computer-generated look that was first used for Green Lantern?
Well, I think they've gone the easy route with it.
Yes,
I'm not.
Just to clarify for the audience, in case they're not aware, it's easier, and they've said this. I don't fully agree with it, but it makes some sense that. It's easier for them in that they have the models on reference, so they can just pull out the models instead and redraw everything from scratch for a scene, like with Young Justice.
Fair enough.
So they have the model, so they don't have to worry about being off model. That's the main concern. They're trying to.
Yeah.
The problem is they still have to animate every frame by frame thing, so it's kind of still a tough process, but live and learn.
I'm not gonna say I necessarily hate computer animation, but it seems like once some people get a hold of that, I'm not saying this is for everyone, they get lazy with stories. I've seen a few of these shows done before, and it's like, oh, look at all the pretty stuff we can do.
Yeah. I'm glad that hasn't happened for this. They're putting the storytelling first and foremost, but that raises this question for me. Here's the question. I don't hate the look. I don't mind the look at all. It's all right. It's fine. I love the textures. I love how the textures look. I really do. Character models, it's all right. But my main concern is, was it really necessary? I mean, I would be just as invested in this series if it was 2D, like Young Justice. I mean, I'd be completely fine with that. The storytelling comes through first, and it's all right. I think it's just DC trying to push the new look on people. Again, it's easier for the process and the making in their eyes, and I don't know, just trying to push that look. Yeah, I guess with Batman, if Batman can do it, then anyone can do it. That's basically the consensus. Yeah. Green Lantern will only last 2 seasons, and I don't know how long this one's going to last, so we'll see.
Oh, I agree. The thing I do like, I was really afraid when I saw some of those initial images that, this is going to look so bad. And
initial images were not flattering. It was like this weird blue Xerox poster because it was snuck out of there. It was weird looking.
I was like, why are you going this way with Batman? Why are you doing the animation like this? And I was like, this is oh, this is gonna be like I can't honestly remember some of those shows. This is gonna like the best one I did see was Reboot. I do love that show, by the way. Um, this is gonna be like really crappy animation. Also, they're gonna be lazy with the stories. It's gonna make no sense. It's gonna be like a really bad Batman Beyond, and I was like, oh. And then of course I heard about the show, watched Cap's first initial discussion, which is the only thing I've seen on this, apart from a few comments here and there, about it, and I was like, I'll check it out, and I have, and we're talking about it now, so yeah, we're gonna stick with it.
What really sold me on the initial premise, again, it was that what really sold me on the series was the initial premise set at that DC Nation panel, because I don't know, it's really the ideas they said there made me at least want to check it out at first. The idea that we're going to have a really strong detective Batman, focus on the detective aspect to the point of, as they described it, we really don't have any evidence so far of this, but it's really obsessive detecting. Like, it's a gift he can't turn off, like Sherlock Holmes in the movies.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how they're going to portray the detective angle. You kind of see that in the second episode. We'll get to that when that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's to the point where it's kind of subtle in this episode, and I'm not sure if it is this. They said to the point where Alfred has to blend his meals so he can eat them because he doesn't take time to eat. And you see him pouring, it looks like orange juice, but it could be a blended meal. I don't know exactly. So, I mean, again, it's too soon to tell for that one, but I'm saying that's the point of obsession there, pushing the detective angle in that pitch. So I don't know how much of that is, but I'm glad we're getting some great detective stuff here. I really am.
Yeah, we're getting some. It comes up more in the next episode. This one is like, there's a little bit of here and there, but it looks like the computer's doing most of the work.
I don't know. There's some great stuff, like how he manipulates the computer. Because one of my favorite bit of detecting in this episode is how he reverses the name on the reflection of the gun, of Professor Pig's gun, to find out it's Michael Holt's the next target. That's my favorite bit in this.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. My bad. Sorry, guys, it's been a while since I've seen the first episode, so... Yeah. Sorry. Usually we'll try and do these more, like, after I've watched an episode.
Yeah. Also, something else that's really neat, when I first saw it, I was, like, so happy. It's a brilliant reference, and it's kind of like even though Bruce Timm's not involved in this show, still kind of it feels like a Tim touch, bringing old stuff from movies and putting it into modern day context with this stuff. It's a reference to the old Pink Panther films, and if it's not, it's a completely weirdly weird coincidence that it's Alfred attacking Bruce, like Kato did in the Pink Panther films. Inspector Clouseau would ask his manservant Kato to attack him periodically, say, so I don't see it coming to sharpen my skills. Kato always attacks, and Inspector Clouseau always foils the attacks, and that's what Alfred does here to train Bruce, like, the minute he wakes up.
Yeah.
And I like how Alfred, again, you get that sense of the training you mentioned, Alfred saying, he says, you should have stopped me in 5 moves. Did in 3. I mean, you should have stopped me in 3 moves, took you 5. I like that. That's the idea I like about this, and I like the idea of the Batman is not completely perfect, but again, I still think it could be within, at most. At most, at the very least, he's past the first year, but still, it's the idea that this Bruce Wayne is different than the Bruce Waynes we've had before. The psychology of this Bruce Wayne is different in that it just doesn't seem like something after a 6-year Batman, like they've said. So that's, this Batman having kind of like this identity realization at the end of this episode. The whole they've also stated that this Bruce Wayne has basically 3 personalities. I mean, 3 faces, if you will. The public Bruce Wayne, the philanthropist. He's the financier and all that stuff. The public face. The private Bruce Wayne is kind of like the one we get in the Nolan films. And the one who talks to Alfred, is really reserved, thinks a lot. And then you have Batman, just basically all his resources and all his training put into a mask. That's his drive and compulsion into the Batman persona. So it's those 3. So basically, they're saying this Batman's not well. He's delineating into 3 personalities, but
No, I don't
I
think
mean,
that's what they're saying. I think they're
that's
saying that he puts on a persona for the public as Bruce Wayne. He puts on a persona for the public as Batman, and he's only himself really around Alfred for it, which is really a cool idea.
Well, I mean, let me rephrase that. I mean, they've said themselves that they said that, well, after you see your parents murdered in front of you, it's going to have some lasting effect to the point where you would need to do that, where a normal human usually wouldn't, go to those extremes for that. I phrased that badly. My apologies. I'm just meaning that, it just shows that this guy, he's driven, but he has to have three public faces where, usually it's just private and public. Something along those lines. It's not a problem at all. I'm just saying that's how they find it. But still, I like the idea that it's Bruce Wayne. At the end of this episode, I like the realization. I just think it's a little clunky in the delivery. Just the idea that Bruce, he's ineffective if he's just he can't just be fully Batman. He just can't be fully public Bruce Wayne. There has to be a balance, and that's what he realized at the end of this episode. That's basically, it's Batman getting to the refined Batman we know. So at this point, he's just trying to keep it so distant, have these dual identities so he can just balance everything well, but it's not going that well. He needs to have a better balance. And that's his progression, I'm assuming, we're going to get throughout the series. And I hope to see that well. We get a little bit more of that in the second episode. But
yeah. We do get mainly Batman and Alfred in here. So we get those are the ones we get. We get quite a bit of the villains as well, but we don't really get to see much Commissioner Gordon in this episode. I know you're a big Commissioner Gordon fan. That's why you're Commissioner Gordon in the
opening of the Fan Guild,
the CFG.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get very little of him in this one at the very end.
Yeah. We get like a little snippet of him. So we know. I think that was to say, okay, yes, Commissioner Gordon's going to be a part of this. It's just not this episode. I just want to ask, were you familiar with these two guys before this? You
mean Simon Stagg and Michael Holt?
Yeah, beware the Professor Pig and.
Oh, no, you mean Professor Pig and I thought I meant the rich guys that were taking those. Yeah, familiar with all of them.
Oh, you familiar with them?
Yeah, with Professor Pig and Mr. Toad.
Okay, you see. Were they at all different from the comics?
Yes and no, in that, yes, they're different because in the comics, Professor Pig's more of a sadistic sadist with a campiness to him. Basically, he's like this demented surgeon.
Oh, okay.
This demented surgeon doctor who makes these things called Dolatrons, and it's basically like these genderless people. It's really weird, and he play him like Jack Nicholson Joker. He's a unique character, and he's a Grant Morrison character, so that's the reasoning. But here's the thing. I like how this interpretation was interesting, yet it still kind of kept some of those elements in that he's like this old Victorian doctor, which is still creepy. It's like the right balance of creepiness, but still tolerable for kids. It's kind of something the animated series did. It's like the perfect medium for Batman, not too dark, not too light. It has some adult themes.
Yeah.
Well, mature themes, I mean.
I think this is one of the best, just judging from especially this episode and the next one, that they do, that they have, found this good balance, not that many people have done since Batman, the animated series.
Indeed. I mean, so far this is doing
they could,
Batman.
Mind you, they can run this off the rails really quickly if they wanted to.
Good. But so far it's much better than the Batman. But the one thing though, about Professor Pig, I like again with the doctor stuff. They're kind of subtly keeping, and we're going to see how I want to know why Professor Pig has this attachment to pigs in the environment. Why is he done the Mask of the Pig, and particularly why does he care about the environment? So we're going to see. Hopefully, we're going to see that unfold in the future installments. But I like how they kind of kept that Mad Doctor angle. That you have to keep in mind he spliced Mr. Toad. It's implied that he spliced this guy, so we get a sense that he's the doctor who did that to him. And well, it's possible. I'm saying we'll see. I like how they're hinting at giving the surgery tools, and he's saying he's a trained medical doctor.
It does. Yeah, I don't mind what I like that they had this old that old timey Victorian filler around their move, which was a really cool idea.
It was. It's cool. Also,
But
about real briefly, go over this real quick about the opening. I really liked it. Again, you mentioned it's a classic Batman opening. Also, should we address the guns?
oh yeah, they're like Firefly guns. I don't know if you watched the movie Firefly, but it sounds very much like that. There are bullets. They're not lasers.
Yeah,
They're not. And the look of it is very like modern Batman. It's not the feel we got in the animated series. It's very like late 20th century stuff. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about the guns is that, well, there wasn't. Given the occurrence that happened in with the Dark Knight Rises screening, they were compelled to change the designs of the gun. It was a little more realistic. You can kind of tell that in the design. I'm glad they didn't go completely the Batman with it, or Spider-Man the animated series with it, going completely laser, going like too futuristic for the times. It was basically, it is the only real giveaways that they're kind of multicolored in this episode.
Yeah,
the red and yellow. So really, that's the only. I like how the design looks pretty much. You know what it is. And really, the only real physical change is that there's like a little slit instead of a hole for the bullet. And it's fine. Like as long as it works like a gun, I mean, it's fine. Like, it has like cartridges and stuff. You like get slide in there. That'll be fine. I'm getting the sense that that's how it works, and they're playing it real. Like the guy's a knife on his ankle, and he's like a sidearm. And as long as they treat it real and it looks about the same, I would say in the future, hopefully they kind of get the colors more like Gordon's gun, like silver and black, and really be fine. If the lasers are treated like bullets, it's fine. As long as it doesn't get too futuristic, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just like, they to me, they came across it more like Firefly weapons, because in that they still have guns, it's just that they move really, the bullet moves even faster, and that's why they're coming out of the barrel so fast, which is really cool.
Yeah, and in Justice League, the show, they kind of just did that, but it was just the bullets came out so fast with like the yellow beams of light. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, what next? The plot of the villains.
Yeah, that they
kidnap Simon Stagg, who Metamorpho is going to be in this series. That guy's a key player in the making of Metamorpho. And Michael Holt, who turns into a superhero. I'm not sure if it's in this series or not, but he in the comics he turns into Mr. Terrific.
Sorry, Terrific sounds to me like a tick hero.
Well, he's like this guy with like a T for he has like T painted on his face.
Oh god.
Well, he was in Justice League, the animated series.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay,
he kind of took over Martian Manhunter's position in Unlimited. You kind of got the dispatch guy of the League.
Okay.
Anyway, good. Well, yeah, I did enjoy this episode. I liked the little bits of detective work. Should we talk about Katana briefly?
Yeah, like she rides up on a bike, meets up with Alfred. He ends up getting kidnapped. Not too long after he meets up with her.
And keep in mind,
Alfred's does she leave? Does she leave before he gets kidnapped, or does she get knocked out as well?
No, she left. Then he was kidnapped.
Okay, cool. I just
Alfred's
want to make sure
a former MI6 agent, and that's how they know each other.
Yeah. I seem to remember that they touched on that in the animated series at one point. Didn't they touch on it, that Alfred was part of this? Cause it didn't seem like completely out of left field for me, because I'm sure there was an episode in the animated series where Alfred is like a secret agent, but it's like really campy episode. I can't remember.
Yes, that's an episode I think people glaze over. Like I've heard Manos bring something like the Batman film panel. He says it brings up Alfred in the field, and he brings up the Matches Malone. Not Matches Malone. The Forgotten episode where he gets Bruce Wayne out of the homeless camp and he just drives the Batwing. But the one episode people forget is that he does have a military field experience. He was basically a spy. In the animated series episode, The Lion and Unicorn, that's the one you were referring to, Magpie.
Yeah, I couldn't remember that.
He's basically a spy. It was mostly desk work, but he has a few moves, like he trips up a guy with an umbrella, and that was essentially the extent of it. So here, it wasn't a new concept to me either. Just a new concept. Maybe he's a little more of a bodyguard now, and he had a more physical robot. You know what I really like about Alfred in this series?
Yeah.
What is it? I really like what they're doing. Is that some people will say that okay, it's a big radical change what they're doing with Alfred, and you're right. It is different. But again,
I like it when people take risks.
Yeah, it's a good.
I really do. There's stupid things that people do, but this seems like, oh, we're not doing the same thing again. We're doing something different.
Yeah,
and that's usually a good thing. It's like, well, like some people didn't like the stuff they didn't the Dark Knight Rises. They didn't like that, but I was like, especially with the 8-year absence and everything, and Bruce getting a happy ending in that concept. Well, they took a risk, and for me, it worked, and not obviously not for a lot of other people, but I liked that movie, and I like this show because I was like, wow, we're getting something different. We're not having the same goofy Alfred that we got in the animated series, which was okay. That was okay there because we hadn't really gotten that before. I don't remember seeing much of Alfred in Brave and the Bold. I'm sure he was in there, but I don't remember seeing him too much because the Batman seemed to always be out in the field whenever I watched the show. And the Batman, I saw only a few episodes of that, and it seemed like we got essentially the same thing over again with that, even though that seemed to try and impart that it was part. Was that originally supposed to be like the cartoon series after Batman Begins? Because I get that impression from that show.
No, because that's if there was a case, then they'd be able to use Scarecrow and such. They couldn't use Scarecrow because the movie was being made in that series. So it's no, but they're kind of going for a younger Batman, like Batman Begins. It wasn't really intentional though.
Yeah, okay, it seemed like that. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, okay, we're going in a new direction. Okay, the animation, it does look like cutscenes from a PS2 or PS3 game. But
let me say this about Alfred. Yeah, the thing about Alfred, it is a radical change, but I like where they're going with in this episode. They're setting it up that Alfred is getting older, and he wants to be in the field, but he really can't. I mean, he's getting a little older, and
he breaks his ankle.
Exactly, and at the end of that, I like this idea that I hope they play with of Alfred. He's going from this radically different Alfred, he's transitioning into the Alfred we know classically, and I guess in between that's going to be the Sean Connery Alfred, like the one that still packs a punch, even though he's a little older.
Older, yeah.
So I'm just expecting. I like that transition. He's reluctantly getting into the traditional Alfred role as time progresses. So I think that's an interesting place to go. It's radically different, but still getting to a traditional place. I think everyone's going to be happy with that in the long run.
Yeah, I didn't get chance to ask you. Is Katana from the comics as well, or is this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Batman was actually the head of the team, the Outsiders, and the Outsiders had Katana and Metamorpho on the team.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is all sounding very good. So we might be getting like a team that I haven't seen before.
Well, actually, they were in Batman Brave and the Bold for an episode or so.
Okay, I didn't get to see as much of that as I would have liked, because I actually liked that show because it was so goofy.
There's an episode with Katana with the whole team there, then Black Lightning's like the third member, but yeah, it's there.
Okay. Well, okay, we've talked about Alfred. We touched on just about everything. Is there anything else?
Well, yeah, just they had some gadgets in here. I'm just going to bring up real quick.
Oh yeah, you're the gadget guy,
yeah.
And yeah, I was going to bring up a couple of them, but I can't really remember what they did. But I know there was a couple of gadgets that he did use in this.
Yes, there was for starters, there was the collapsible batarang.
Awesome.
There's that. There's after the collapsible batarang, it had this kind of wire gun.
Yeah,
it's looks like a high tension wire gun. I'm not sure of the specifics of it. Remember, he uses it to trip up Toad as he's like launching towards Alfred.
Yeah.
Also, Toad. Speaking of gadgets and Toad, Toad is spliced. If anyone, it's not a mask. He has to be spliced. However, I don't know. This is kind of strange. I kind of want it to be like a device to why he has the sonic rivet. But it won't bother me overly if he does. If that's not the reason, I just kind of wish it was kind of a gadget, like the back of his throat or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. The other Batman gadget is like one more. And it's I call it's either the collapsible or the telescoping laser. It's what he uses to liberate Alfred from the cage, and he gives it to Alfred. And there's actually an animation flub in this, and there's another animation flub in the second episode. Animation flub is that he hands Alfred. He makes a point of saying, Alfred, for any trouble that happens along the way, gives him the telescoping laser rod, I guess. Telescoping laser rod, and Alfred either drops it, and Captain Logan's pointed this out. He either drops it. Well, basically the thing is, it disappears. So he either drops it, or he's trying. It looks like he's trying to put up his sleeve. The problem is that it just disappears. So he's not doing anything there. So that's the flub.
Yeah.
So basically, those are gadgets. They were neat, and this mission statement for this was that they could make the gadgets fit inside the belt. So they wore like a cardboard belt, and they tried putting gadgets in there. So for reference. So we'll see where that goes over time.
Yeah.
Also, we had some explosives in this episode, too, but nothing really there.
Okay. We're not going to do... I don't want to do ratings for this, because I just want to get... obviously, you enjoyed this, and I enjoyed this, because it got me to watch the next episode, and it was all... nicely done. I really thought, okay, this is a good starting point.
One last thing. There was a little bit of morphine he used before he gave him the laser rod.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. You gotta take the pain away. I like that. I'll get into something I liked, which happens in the second episode.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't judge a series really on its pilot too much. I like if it's a show that I like, oh, that's a good starting point. I usually watch the second episode. I don't usually judge anything too much on the first episode, but with this one, I was like, okay, this seems like it's going to be a really good show. And usually, I'm pretty on the money when it comes to judging shows. And this one, okay. I didn't know the villains. I thought they were handled really well. I do want to see them again. And I like that they took, like I said, taking risks, going into different places with Batman is hard to do, and I think they did a good job of it here. I'll hand it over to you now.
Okay.
Final thoughts before we end.
Yeah, overall, I like this. I think it's a very hopeful, I'm glad this was good. I was a little worried about this. I was thinking, okay, well, we'll see where it goes. I'll probably watch it just for the heck of it. I mean, I watched the Batman. What next? But anyway, I watched it. I was pleasantly surprised. Oh, yeah, this really good putting story before the animation. That's good. So it is kind of like the Green Lantern show. It's just for Batman. I like that. That's good. A little bit of Gordon in there, which is always good. Yeah, at the very end, see where that goes. But yeah, overall, it's a good starting point for Batman. They're doing some ideas like the whole the many sides of Bruce Wayne, which is new, and they're playing with that in the detective angle with Batman. Also, kind of the Batman getting injured and how obsessive and the risk of being obsessive to the point Batman is. And we'll see how that plays out in future episodes. But this is a great starting point.
Okay. I think we can leave it here. That was our thoughts on the pilot. What was it? This one called? Hunted, wasn't it? Hunted. Yeah. Okay. Hunted.
Remember the Birch guys are hunted. They're put into like the world's deadliest. Yeah. The world not catch, but the most dangerous game.
Yep.
Setting. Well, remember, folks, beware the Batman.
Yes. Beware the Batman.